Hey everyone, Pixels here, and in today's video we are doing a Cheryl Mason beginner build. It's took me quite a while to figure one out for her. Did a lot of tinkering because we have the 6 Stranger Things perks as common perks now as well. So like all my builds, my beginner builds, you don't need any other teachables from other survivors, you just need to use these common perks. You know, if you've just jumped straight into the game and you bought maybe the Silent Hill chapter, you don't have anyone leveled up, then you know this is a build that you can use before you even play any of the other survivors really. So first things first, I picked Blood Pact. This is a great Cheryl Mason perk, by the way. When you or the Obsession are injured, you see each other's auras basically, which is great. You know, if someone's in a chase, if the Obsession's in the chase, should I say, you do see their aura across the map, and you know, if they do leave the chase and they need healed up, they will see your aura. They can come over and just get healed up with you. And not only that, once that's done, you both gain a 7% haste effect if you stay within each other's radius. Now this is great for maps like Midwich or RPD, you know, when there's like 2 floors. And if one person stays above that and the other person is below, then it works out pretty well. Especially if you're playing with a friend and, you know, you're on comms, you can kind of try and coordinate to stay together and keep that haste effect going, as long as one person's looping the killer and the other person's doing something else like nearby. It's, you know, it's really good for wasting a lot of the killer's time as well. Second perk I went for is Kindred, and you know, I picked Kindred in all my beginner builds. It's a great solo survivor perk as well. I still use it to this day in my current meta builds. Basically, at my, you know, I play it pretty much in high MMR, so having Kindred is great. You know, it helps out getting unhooked, and you can basically just coordinate what to do with the rest of the team really. You know, if you're doing a gen, someone gets hooked, you can see that, you know, if they're not going for the unhook, that means you have to go and get it basically, and you can determine how things are going to play out a lot easier with Kindred. And not only that, it does show where the killer is as well. So if you're hooked and the killer is nearby, the rest of your team will see that, and they'll be able to see each other, and then they'll, you know, determine how to get the unhook through that way. And if someone else is hooked, you can see where the killer is. You can actually also see if the killer is coming towards you. There is potential moments where you won't see the killer's aura if they're a stealth killer, or if they have like something like Tinkerer, which removes basically the terror radius and makes them kind of invisible to aura reading and stuff, but you know, it doesn't occur that often. So yeah, Kindred, literally the best perk you can throw on your survivor. You can't go wrong with it, and you know, it doesn't really have that much of a counter. Okay, so my third perk I chose was Soul Guard. So Cheryl Mason has 3 perks. She has Blood Pact, Soul Guard, and Repressed Alliance. The reason I chose Soul Guard over Repressed Alliance is I don't really think people need to be blocking gens whilst they're pretty much new to the game, because most killers you're going to be playing against are not going to have Pop Goes the Weasel, which is what Repressed Alliance kind of counters. Basically what Pop Goes the Weasel is, for those who want to know, is if the killer hooks someone and they come over and kick the gen, that gen will lose 25% progress. It's kind of a pain in the ass to play against. So Repressed Alliance is kind of nice to counter that, but you won't really come across it too often in earlier stages of the game. So I went with Soul Guard. Basically, if you get, you know, slugged, what we call basically just being left on the floor from the killer, you will gain, once you're being picked up, you'll gain an endurance status effect for 8 seconds. Meaning, if you stand up, the killer can hit you, but you won't go down within that 8 seconds. You'll basically just go into the mend state where you have to, you know, just mend yourself, which is awesome. And also, if the killer does have a hex in play, you can fully recover from the dying state as well. So as long as there's a hex up, you can get up off the floor as many times as you want with Soul Guard, which is really nice. It's kind of a niche perk. We don't see it quite a lot, but I think in terms of this build, it's kind of good. If people are going to pick you up off the floor, you can basically just, you know, take a hit, or, you know, get away pretty much scot-free to go and find a pallet or something away from the killer. So yeah, it's a good perk. I mean, it's best combined with stuff like Unbreakable if you have that. I mean, like I said, it's a beginner build, so I try not to use other teachables, but I will suggest, if you do have Bill leveled up and you have Unbreakable, then put Unbreakable as your 4th perk, and that way you'll get good chemistry with that and Soul Guard basically. Moving on, my 4th perk I chose Guardian, and Guardian's just basically a go with the Kindred as well. So basically, if you unhook a survivor, they won't leave any scratch marks or pools of blood, and they gain a 7% haste effect for 8 seconds, which means they can get away from the hook quicker. And you also see the killer's aura for 8 seconds, so, you know, if you think the killer's coming back to the hook, then you can go and aggro the killer away from your teammate if you wish, or, you know, it's just, I thought it was just kind of a nice perk to throw into this build to go along with Kindred. It's a lot of aura reading, which is nice, and it works out pretty well. So, like I said, if you do have Unbreakable on build, do throw that in this build instead of Guardian if you wish. But my suggestion out of all these, I'd say put Guardian in. And this is probably the best build you can hope for on Cheryl, because her perks, like I said, don't really have good chemistry with current common perks that are in the game. But I played a lot of games with this build, and I did quite successful, especially in my MMR. So, and I got a good few plays with Blood Pact and Soul Guard, so they were very beneficial. And Kindred always helps, as well as, you know, Guardian. So again, you can't really go wrong with these perks. You'll pretty much almost always get use out of them in every game, apart from potentially Soul Guard, which, like I said, it's kind of a niche perk, but it's very clutch and helpful in certain situations as well. So, alright guys, that will do for my Cheryl Mason build. I hope it helped. If you have any questions about the build, please leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. What other perks you'd like to throw in this build. What perks you personally use on Cheryl. I'd like to know. If you are new to the channel, please hit that sub button. I'm going to be trying to pump out all these beginner build videos. I've been doing them a lot on stream lately. You know, getting the input from the chat, you know, maybe he's making builds around that as well. And, you know, if you just want to get involved, maybe he's helping develop some of these beginner builds. I've got a few more left to do. And, you know, you want to hop on a stream when I'm doing them, then, you know, be my guest. You can help me out. It's really fun that I've been doing these this past week. And like I said, I've maybe got through about 6 this week, so which is awesome. I'm trying to get them all done before Evil Dead drops and stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave me a like. Let me know what you guys think. And I've been Pixel. This has been my awesome viewers. I'll catch you guys in the next one.